Welcome to Galactic Grandmother Heart to Heart. My name is April, and my special guest today is Louise Mita. Louise is an international lecturer. She refers to herself as an energist because she works in the world of energy. She's also the beloved creator and teacher of integrative quantum medicine, also known as IQM. Her bio is extensive and very impressive. However, we're not here today to interview Louise about her life and her work, although I'd love to do that in the future. We're here because Louise lives in Hawaii. She has family in Maui. And I personally recommended on my Facebook page to donate to Louise because she has been boots on the ground since the tragedy in Lahaina. I knew she would put the money into the hands of people that needed it. This touches me. So I asked Louise to please give us an update. We want to keep this Maui subject on everyone's mind. We don't want it to get lost with, all the other news that's going on. So welcome, Louise. It's such an honor to have you here today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, and thank you for addressing the subject of Maui, which of course is dear to the hearts of everyone here in Hawaii. And I really appreciate it. We all appreciate it that you're taking the time to look into this and to ask my opinion. Indeed. Thank you. Thank you. So perhaps I can give everybody a little bit of an update of what has been going on. There are so many variations on the theme as far as causes, next steps, blame, responsibility, et cetera, et cetera. So the actuality is that Lahaina is gone. It is devastated. Many people not only lost their lives, there are many that are still unaccounted for, but people have lost their homes, their businesses, their those who entire families have been erased. Those who have worked in the Lahaina community also now are faced with unemployment as well as housing. So not only those who have lost homes that they own, but those who rented as well. So lives have been turned completely upside down. After the tragedy and the shock and trauma of it, which needless to say is not over, the multitude of emotions take force. The grief, the sadness, I don't think anybody's really had the opportunity to grieve yet because the trauma is still at a level 10, emotionally, mentally, psychologically, and physically. We are looking at a lot of anger, even if there's no one to blame. Yes, we're angry because that's part of the emotional roller coaster that you go on when you have gone through any kind of trauma, this one being extreme. There is so much finger pointing going on because we're trying to figure how could this happen? Who can we blame? I mean, do we blame God? We're just looking to blame somebody because it doesn't make sense that people have completely lost everything. Interestingly enough, this happened on August 8th, which is the Lionsgate portal. And it's an opening that usually is looked forward to as a spiritual awakening, a portal that takes us into the highest level of vibrational frequency experienced in the physical realm. Well, I don't even know what to say about that. And it's very difficult to try to put a positive twist on this because of the devastation. Yes, now many irresponsibility situations are being looked at as far as the inattentiveness to dry brush that has accumulated, the old out of date and regulation ways of addressing electricity or land care or water rights, etc., where water has been pretty much sequestered to the resorts and the, taken away from the natural flow that would go into all the communities and farming, et cetera. So, the list goes on and on and on. So perhaps this is the spiritual awakening for the community in not allowing status quo to continue as it is, because there's so much paperwork and the bureaucracy and the red tape to try to get things up to speed and up to regulation current as of 2023. We're still living with a lot of old systems, and I mean physical systems that were decades obsolete. So if we made the twist of finding the positive in that, perhaps this is it, and it's as the community and the city of Lahaina rebuilds, everything is going to have to be new. Everything is going to have to come up to code, and no, they're not going to leave things unattended, because look what can happen. So the alarm is set everywhere to pay attention to things like that. Now, speaking of alarms, of course, it was alarming that there were no alarms that went off. So that is, indeed unforgivable, in that Hawaii probably has the most advanced warning system, being a military installation in the middle of the Pacific. So we've got alarms for, we had a statewide alarm that went off a few years ago for a misinterpreted missile suspected.
I remember.
You remember that? Yeah.
Yes.
It was, we're hearing the siren going off like crazy, and people didn't know what was going on. It didn't stop. And my first thought was, well, if we're going to be invaded and the world's coming to an end, I might as well go surfing, because there's no point in hanging around for the aftermath of this one.
Right.
Let me see if I can catch some of those waves I usually don't have the guts to go after, So I got and I went for a surf. And meanwhile, people put their children down manholes, thinking that might save them from a nuclear invasion. And all of this was somebody pressed the wrong button. Says, do I want coffee with sugar or without? Oh, and oops, wait, the alarms went off. Anyway, so we do have a very sophisticated alarm system, and for it not to have gone off was unconscionable. It was, and the excuse that came behind it was even more ridiculous. So no matter what, the fact that people did not have ample warning, that brought up all the conspiracy theories, which many could be conspiracy facts. I cannot attest to either, but it certainly brought up a lot of thought. And the list goes on as far as negligence, and I mean, what they did or what they didn't do, either way, was not good. And you see the result of it is pretty horrific. So again, although Lionsgate is supposed to profess great transformation and spiritual awakening, it's hard to lean into that twist with the decimation that has occurred under the circumstances.
Right.
But it is also hard to ignore that was Lionsgate. That was very, very profound. At this point, because the damage has been done, and we do not want more damage, and I'm sure everyone knows the vultures are circling. People are being offered money for their land, quick land grabs, as they say, and nobody wants a land grab. But on the other hand, my heart goes out to people who now have nothing, are living in temporary, hotel rooms that the feds are paying for, et cetera, et cetera. But that's going to end. That's not going to go on. How long are you going to be able to stand your ground and not give up and take the money and run? I I understand the idea of solidarity. We all have to stay together and do not sell out. And it's easy for us to say, who are living comfortably in our own homes on another island or in another part of the country, et cetera, et cetera. But to be in it and have to say, okay, how long can I endure? How long before insurance claims come through? How long before I can, where do I live now? What do I do? So people are torn, and they're torn between the guilt of, I want to carry on with my life and let me move to Las Vegas and take this money and, build a house or something. So it's just a bit chaotic, emotionally upheaval. So that's why for um, for me and what I've been able to do, right now, the other thing I bring to mind for us all, what is the best way, one, we can serve, be of service, to where am I at in my stance and purpose in life? I'm from the 60s, from the 50s actually, but I'm part of, in the 60s, I was part of the movement, so to speak. And I did protest and I marched and I, everything. And that was my thing then. And to call them out, call the system out, call the man out, and try to beat down that, and try to that was what I did then. That is not what I do now. And I have sometimes, I have that seed in me, but I realize I'm not going to be of service in that way. And there are many who are in a position to do it, in the spirit to do it, in the fervor of energy to do it. And that's what you are supposed to be doing. So those of you who are supposed to be protesting and fighting and marching and picketing and do it. And my heart stands behind you, because I want the right things to happen. I think, you and I agree on that, April. Indeed, we want the right things to happen. We want people to have justice. We want fairness. We want all of these things. But that's not my platform. Where can I be of best service? Much on the background, as an energist, holding space, shifting energy, healing those who are in need. And by the way, since this is a public platform, the IQM, Integrative Quantum Medicine community, has offered healing, energetic healing, remotely for those in Maui, whether it is the healers healing on the ground in Maui to support them for their work, or those who are in need of mental, emotional, psychological help right now. And I think everybody does. But we're offering our services gratis, free. As we say in Hawaii, manuahi. You don't need to pay nothing for it. So you can work this through me, contacting me directly through the website. And I can, we have an amazing community, including Makwa, who will be willing to have a phone call, a half-hour energy clearing, which can bring the energy back down into ourselves, so that we don't feel like we're all over the place, and help to stabilize the community. So that is where I feel I can best serve. And then also the donations from my wonderful clients and the supporters, it's cash that people need. And even, you put $100 bill in somebody's hands who has nothing. They don't have to sign for it. I don't need your name. You don't have to tell me the story. I know what happened. You don't have to even thank me. Here, what an uplift that is. It's like Santa Claus arrived, right? It's like you got a blessing. Something that changes the thoughts of where do I begin to, whoa, okay, there's hope that we're on the right path. Right now, people are then dealing with the rules and regulations and the bureaucracy. As we know, it can be thick and wide and deep. If you can collect unemployment insurance, then you're not entitled to disaster relief. If you want disaster relief, just bring your driver's license, social security card, and your tax forms, and we will get that started. Okay, all that stuff just burnt up. All right, well, you can go to the DMV. How am I going to get there? Okay, so all of this, and you can see why people are infuriated with need to even go through this. You know, the one-time check of $700 is not going to do squat, you know. So again, giving people $100 here or there, that's not going to change their lives, but it has been something that we can do, or that I've been directly, immediately, without no strings attached, and it has been the kind of a thing where this is whatever you can do to help everybody. And if it's just pray, believe me, that helps, because people are praying around the world. Not so much praying so that justice is pray for the strength of the people who are there for survival. Unfortunately, I've heard of some suicides, which, yeah, I mean, at this point, it's like you throw your hands up, and that level of, I can't do this anymore. I understand. I can totally understand. But again, this is where the emotional support is needed, the mental health is needed, the energetic help, because this is truly something that, you know, we are able to offer. It's been slightly tricky trying to get into the system offering this, because this is the, you know, complementary type of medicine, which is alternative to what goes through the system. But that's why word of mouth, through your wonderful podcast, we can get this information out and let people know we're here, we're available, it's free. All you have to do is call. We can do a half-hour phone call. You don't even have to give me the whole story. We can just shift the energy. And as you know, from being a practitioner and having work done on you, I'm sure it's, you know, 5 minutes even, you know, or within 15 minutes, you'd be like, okay, I'm settled. Let me carry on now. But we're here, we're offering this. So
Perfect.
again, yeah.
I will put your contact information, your website, underneath this video. And it is so important, because in my mind, the way I'm looking at it, it's not just all of the physical necessities of life that we're having to address. You know, this is in a larger context. It's it's the spiritual battle, you know, between people giving into the desperation and depression and everything else they're going through, and being able to see maybe a bigger picture and know there's hope somewhere, but it's hard.
Yeah, absolutely. And if we physically cannot get to the location and stand with people, energetically, if you stand, I mean, if you stand in your heart, if you take that moment of prayer, if you take that moment of deep inner commitment and resolution in your mind right here now, that makes a difference. It makes a difference. So don't feel as if all of your listeners who are not able to do something or give money or whatever, say a prayer. Just say a prayer, and believe me, it will help. Thank you ahead of time, everyone. Thank you. Thank you. Every Sunday at 9 a.m. Hawaii time, which is noon Pacific time, I do a peace meditation, which is all about, and it's a half-hour meditation. And what it is wherever you are, you don't need to dial in, just think loving thoughts. So even if it is self-focused loving thoughts, I love my life, I love my family, I'm grateful for my time on this planet, thank you for my health. If you think these loving thoughts, this frequency, right? This frequency permeates. And the more that we have thinking in that vein, the more it permeates and infects the world. So in doing this, I will ask that each Sunday, not just this Sunday, but each and every Sunday, if you can include the health of Maui in your loving prayers for peace and harmony, and indeed our gratitude for our time here on this planet, in your prayers of that, it would be amazing. So every Sunday, 9 o'clock Hawaii time, wherever you are, which is 9 o'clock European time, GMT is 8 o'clock PM. So around the world, if you just think loving thoughts anytime between 9 and 9:30, a little half hour, we have a half hour leeway to, oh, you know what time it is? Oh, let me just, I send love to the world. I do. Thank you. Love you. Thank you. Thank you, world. Oh, and Maui too. Good luck, Maui. God bless you. God bless you. Believe me, it will change everything. And it does. It really does. It really does. So I don't want to organize just one. I want to organize every Sunday.
Definitely. And just every day, if you're thinking about Maui, because, quantum entanglements,
Exactly.
we send loving, healing thoughts to all the people in Maui, specifically in the Lahaina area, for their highest, outcome. And
Yes, yes. And Maui right now, it is not just Lahaina, the rest of the island is in need of support. So if your vacation plans have altered because you think, oh, we shouldn't go to Maui, please do. It's okay. Do go to Maui and find that way to bring your economic resources to Maui. It would be wonderful. It would be absolutely wonderful. Um, I know that, as I say, there's Maui's going through its roller coaster. It really is, and things are tricky, and things are it's tough for everybody, and it is still a loving, beautiful, wonderful, extraordinary, magical place. So, so remember that in your hearts. Don't go into the total pity and destitute. No, just remember Maui's magical, and she will come back. She's gonna come back better than ever. Truly. Yes.
And envision the people happy, rebuilding their lives, and envision that positive outcome.
Absolutely.
What we want to manifest.
Absolutely. So for me now on my Instagram posts, which for a while and my monthly call, they've been focused on, oh, what are we going to do? And I realized we still have a lot of people whose job is, and whose space and frame is to continue with that aspect of Maui, whether it's the struggle, the fight, the justice factors, let's bring things. So people are doing that. I've decided to change the nature of what I'm talking about, never forgetting Maui for a second, but I'm back to uplifting uplifting. So all of our spirits are
Right.
uplifted.
Yes.
We need to be happy. I mean, the world has gone completely bonkers. Canada's still on fire. You know, Japan has unleashed all this radiation in the water. I mean, is there any not bad news that you're going to tell me today? You know what I mean? So I need a laugh. I know people need to laugh. I know we're not trivializing the dramas that are going on around the world and billions of dollars that are being sent to another country to kill each other, you know, for stupid anyway, you know, but we need to be happy. And yes, laughter and joy and harmony and all of the good feelings within us need to be revitalized, elevated, and inseminated across the world. We need to spread the love once again and spread the good feelings. With that, we will bring the darkness up and send it out as we raise the vibration.
Oh,
So
thank you so much for that. That is inspirational, truly.
you know,
I had one follow-up question about, you said that there was that woman that went into labor and your niece had taken her in. What was the outcome of that?
everything was fine.
Beautiful.
She had her baby, you know, and not only took her in, took her whole family in, and then from there they actually went to this other man who took in 65 people. He had a property and he took in 65 people, 17 families, and you know, put them up. Uh, this is the kind of openness, and their hearts are welcoming. I mean, you know, you see somebody who's hungry. Here, oh, I got something to eat. You know, if I have something to eat, you have something to eat. I mean, this is the kind of thing, people who have property, large properties in Maui, why don't they do that? Why don't they do that? They're not even there. You know, they could purchase, you know how the new thing is these little mini houses. That's getting to be the fashionable thing, right? People, you can put up a whole bunch of those if you have 2,000 acres of land, right? And house a lot of people,
Yes.
right? You know, I mean, this is the immediacy of the need that you could actually fulfill, because some people go, and you'll get a car, and you'll get a car, and you'll get a car, and these
That's
people
right.
can do
Yeah.
that, you
Yeah.
know, and you drop in the bucket. So, and I
And-
know that, you know,
Or a write-off.
and it is a write-off. It
Yeah.
is a write-off already. I know that Oprah and The Rock have said that they've committed $1 million of whose money? Because it's a foundation, and they're asking us to donate to commit to this million. No, give $1 million, $10 million of your money, because 10 million is nothing out of billions, right?
Right.
Anyway, and this is your community that you live in, that you've built a road that is private and not accessible to the public, which could have been a really good road. Oh, where'd that voice come from? I'm sorry. So so you can see how it's easy to get
Well,
caught in all of that stuff. But you know, for those who can, hey, somebody donated $15 and sent it to me. I wanted to cry. I wanted to cry. That is probably the greatest donation of all, because that's what she could afford and she wanted to. So I am so grateful. These little donations have been miraculously uplifting. It's like a little you know, a spiritual uplift for people,
right.
an energetic moment of relief, you know, and a surprise.
I think that this has brought out the worst and the best in humanity. The the way that the aloha spirit has just brought people, and you know, Maui is beloved around the world. People have been so emotionally involved from every country, because
Yes,
it was it's such a homeland to a lot of us that were in Lemuria.
yes, exactly,
New. But
exactly.
yeah, it's definitely, you can see the beauty of humanity and
Indeed.
That's so nice said.
Indeed, indeed. Yeah, you hit it right on the head, though. Absolutely. It's brought out the best and the worst in us. And all of that, though, is still leading toward the best outcome for Maui. The best
Right.
outcome is what everyone wants. So although it brings out a great deal of anger and frustration, that is only because they all also want the best for Maui and its residents and inhabitants.
And I
And
think
so,
it's a righteous, justified anger a lot of the time.
yes. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And again, we hate to think that it took this to mobilize the, whether it's the people who have accepted things as they are, or the government who is, whoever, wherever, it has taken this to get us going, you know, I guess so. And we have gotten going, and we're taking care of business, and it will be better. It's not easy, but if the energy and the fortitude of that commitment and desire for things to be right is the fuel behind our personal fire, we will blaze on, and it is going to be a huge success.
Yay. Well, I love that. I love you. Thank you so much. Do you think that we should follow up on Maui and say another 30 days? And,
Sounds great.
and just
Absolutely.
let people know the good news is coming out of Maui at that point in time.
Yes, sounds wonderful.
All right.
Yes, I extend my gratitude and love and a deep appreciation for the work you're doing and this beautiful podcast you've invited me to.
Oh, and thank you for all you're doing. And thank you to everyone that's watching this. You are all very much appreciated. So blessings all. And we will see you soon.
Sounds good. Aloha. Aloha.
Aloha. All righty. Bye-bye.
Bye.